Brendan Fraser, a name that brings adoration of millions of people from the 90s. A name that brings forth memories of a bygone era of Hollywood films actually being good. Millennials grew up watching him. Gen X said that he was the sexiest man alive. For a long time, no one really knew what happened to him. He just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Fraser's been Rick O'Connell, George of the Jungle, even lent his voice to the Tasmanian Devil, which is kind of nutty. I mean, seriously, the man even got banned from Fairy World.
True chosen one, Turbo Thunder! I am only sorry I didn't ban you from Fairy World sooner. What? I'm Turbo Thunder! You can't ban Turbo Thunder from...
If you didn't remember that, now you do. That happened. For a long time, there really wasn't any news surrounding him. He was no longer put in any leading roles. He wasn't in any hit blockbusters. He just kind of leaned further into some voice acting work, which I don't blame him. You gotta make money somehow, right? In the last 4 years, we have seen a resurgence of one of the greatest actors of all time, and especially of my childhood. Fraser's made a comeback as Cliff Steele in Doom Patrol, and he's being offered more roles even as we speak. Fraser was also a victim of the darker side of Hollywood, the Weinstein-y kind. Brendan James Fraser was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, to his Canadian parents, Carol Mary and Peter Fraser. He's the youngest of 4 boys, and his family moved a lot during his youth. Now, Brendan's lived in California, Washington, Ontario, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and right now, he lives in New York. Humble. Now, he stated that Sir Ian McKellen inspired him to act after watching the legend in a Shakespearean production. Now, not much is known about his interests before he took a vacation to London, where he attended his first professional theater show in the West End. He did decide to work towards an acting career. Brendan would later graduate from Seattle's Cornish College of the Arts in 1990. Fraser's breakout films Encino Man and School Ties led to his demand skyrocketing in Hollywood. Though not all of them were good, his next movies didn't do so well, and it wasn't until 1997 where he landed his first major box office break with George of the Jungle. Afterwards, the hits kept coming with Gods and Monsters, and of course, the one we all remember, The Mummy. For an entire decade, from 1997 to 2007, Brendan Fraser was everywhere. Guest appearances, movies, stage productions, and if you ever saw him behind the scenes, he'd probably have a camera with him because he loves photography. Now, it's actually difficult to find anything outside of movies and interviews about Brendan. He exudes positive energy, he talks about his 3 boys often, and he lives a really quiet life away from the hustle, bustle, and toxicity of Hollywood. And let's be real, it's pretty toxic there. The man is so down to earth, I swear to freaking God, he might as well be a dwarf. Sadly, not everything was going well for Brendan during those years. In 2003, Fraser alleges that Philip Burke, the former president of the HFPA, molested him during what he'd expected to be a typical handshake. Fraser claims Burke grabbed his buttocks and taint. Weinstein. Now, Brendan spoke up about this issue in 2018. Now, Burke does deny these claims, but the public does seem to be firmly behind Brendan, taking him at his word. And also, let's just be real. They wouldn't be the first, Adding salt to these wounds, his recurring injuries due to his love for tossing himself into the environment on set damaged his health and his ability to appear on the silver screen. He divorced his ex-wife Afton Smith in 2008, and during the divorce settlement, he was forced to pay an absolutely ludicrous, insane, and I mean insane amount of money in alimony And he was left with pretty much no options for future roles. And if you want to know what an insane amount of money is, $900,000 a year. Yeah, tell me that that's not kind of bull. And as if he hadn't had enough pain already, he lost his mother shortly after cancer in 2016. But not everything for him has been doom and gloom either. Now, regardless of how he feels about his ex-wife, the two do have 3 children together, and all evidence shows that Brendan is a loving and dedicated father. He's taken up archery, and he uses it as a form of meditation, which I very much understand. It's super relaxing.
All right. A lot of people watch TV to unwind. What do you do to unwind?
Archery.
Really?
Yes, really. Because every time you aim, you're going to miss. And if you don't think about it, you surprise yourself, and the arrow goes exactly where you intended to, but you didn't overthink it. It's different every time you release that string with just the gesture of like dropping a bag of coins. And I like the notion that once you let something go, you can't get it back. You better be careful. You better mean it. And there's an element of risk to it. So have respect for physics and the environment around you. It takes me out of my head.
Yeah.
And puts me back in my head in a different way. I find that helpful to me.
Now, I know that this one was a bit shorter, but let me explain why I think that Brendan deserves to be an American badass. Now, back in the long ago, the before time, if you will, there was a wonderful place called Blockbusters. Now, what that was a place where you would go get popcorn and a VHS or a DVD when those were new, and you would go pick them out, rent it, and you would see a movie. And during that time, Brendan Fraser reigned supreme over all. From The Mummy to Encino Man to George of the Jungle, if you wanted to just see him derp around shirtless, which a lot of people did. Let's just be real here. But the man was everywhere, and he was absolutely amazing in most of the things that he's done. Now, for somebody to have such a climb to fame, and then for Hollywood to show its true face and destroy him, and to have everything taken from him, from his money, from his roles, his health, and for him to still claw his way back out from that hell and come back with an absolute vengeance, I think that qualifies somebody as a badass. And let's just be real. Who actually doesn't like the man? I've yet to find somebody that I'm like, oh, by the way, did you see Brendan Fraser's back? And they were like, oh, I hate that guy. I've not heard it. We all seem to love the guy. There's something about him that just makes us happy. Brendan Fraser is an American badass because it takes a certain sense of badassery to fall off the highest cliff of fame into the deepest pits of hell and claw your way back out again. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, make sure to leave it a like. Leave a comment with what your favorite Brendan Fraser role is. Mine happens to be Rick O'Connell in The Mummy. The first two, that is. But, yeah, that's my favorite. Let me know what yours is. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss videos like this in the future. I'm also going to leave a playlist up here somewhere, I think over here, of other American badasses that you might be interested in. So make sure to check those out. And until then, I'll see you next time.